Hi, welcome back to Person's Academy. I'm glad to have you with me today. During this session, I will run through the spent and received rules within Xero. So starting on the dashboard screen, what we want to do is click on our business bank account. Now, this is a really helpful tool when you have the same type of transaction or the same amount of money coming in every month or maybe every week, and you just don't want to allocate this every week, every month manually. So we go to the reconcile screen and find our transaction. My fast paid bill is outside of Xero and I will not be putting it into Xero. Therefore, using this rule is absolutely fine. So what we want to do is click on options on this transaction specifically and then create bank rule. And what Xero will do is it will bring up the rules available to create. So it has already said that this is a spent item. So it is a spend money rule. And if it was a received money rule, it would have brought up that tab. So the two spend and receive, I'll just quickly show you, are exactly the same. They are just one for spent and one for received. As you can see, nothing changed when I click the two because they are literally the same other than spend or receive. So what I'm going to show you now will work for both of those types of rules. So I like to have a rule that has all conditions met rather than any conditions match because I might have a reference that is similar that relates to something completely different, nothing to do with this payee, and therefore I don't want to have a confusion and have a link for something that isn't to do with this rule. So I will always choose all conditions match, but you might not have to. You might think this is okay and only the payee has to be fast pay. And then we're going to have a look at the line items. So maybe there is a fixed amount that needs to be allocated to one specific location and then the rest goes somewhere else. So for example, I might say, £50 of this is always going to be to do with software. Always, just the way it is because of this supplier. So I want to say that the software is 20% and it is always a fixed value of £50. And then the rest of it needs to go to a different location. And we're going to just say maybe that is general expenses. And again, that is actually going to be no VAT rather than have VAT. And we're going to put the rest of the balance to that location. If, however, it's nothing to do with this, it's not a fixed value at all, but maybe this is money coming in from a client. And so actually I am going to have some, again, because I'm doing an expense, it's going to be maybe cost of goods sold. And I always know that 50% of that is vatable, whilst the other 50% is non-vatable. So again, I can get that rule created really nice and quick and easy. And there you go. What this rule is saying is 50% of any value that relates to the payee being fast pay and the description being that FP code, it will put 50% to 20% VAT and 50% to no VAT, but the whole 100% of this cost will go to cost of goods sold. And this reference that I want to use, I could choose this during the bank reconciliation. Alternatively, I might want to choose this now. And so I'm going to choose description. Again, have a look at these codes, see what one is relevant for you and choose as appropriate. And then add the rule to which bank account. So this might apply to all of my bank accounts. And so actually I'm going to have some fast pays in both bank accounts. So I'm going to choose all bank accounts. Alternatively, I know this rule only needs to apply to my business bank account and therefore I choose that one. Again, have a think, see what works best for you. In terms of the name of the rule, again, Xero will suggest a name that it thinks is appropriate. So the information it has is the P is fast pay, therefore it chooses that one. However, I might want to say this is in relation to cost of goods and then VAT allocation maybe. So again, I just add a little bit more context. So when I see that rule, I know exactly what one that is because I might have another fast pay rule set up in the background. Now I'm happy with my rule, I can click Save. And then what we'll see is on that transaction now, there is a rule that can be applied. And so as it says, apply rule, and I can just click OK on that, and that will automatically reconcile that for me. and put it to those locations I looked for. So again, we can click view details to see where that's going. And we have 20% of that going to the cost of goods sold with 20% VAT. And we have 50% of that going to cost of goods sold with 20% VAT, and 50% of it going to cost of goods sold and no VAT. And there you have it. That's how you create a rule for spent or received in Xero. I hope this video was helpful. They can be a little bit tricky, so do reach out if you need any further assistance. Remember to like and subscribe and follow along for more. Thanks. See you at the next one.